let's start with the defensive backs. What did we like specifically about individual play in the defensive backfield?
They overachieved.
Yep.
If we're gonna look at from the start to finish in an exit meeting, it all counts. From how you came into camp, how you did preseason, how you practiced, prepared, and went through the season. And at first, if you want to look at earlier on, Grant, with what we had going on with our secondary, we were strong. Emmanuel Mosley, Gip, I think Jimmy was hurt at first. He didn't come in right away, but Travarius was as advertised, if not more. And that we came through quite a rough patch of adversity through the first quarter of the season going into the second. We lost E-Man. We lost JV. We lost Verrett. And we had to insert some young guys that had basically had to learn on the fly, time on task. And Diamador Lenoir, who struggled with deep passes and scramble coverage. And that kind of bled into a lot of things on the corner side. But I'm pleased with where we are. I think that for the good is concerned, we were very physical this year. We were one of the most physical tackling secondaries in the league. You don't have one of the number one rushing defenses in the league, and your secondary doesn't come to play on the back end. So as far as positives are concerned, that's as far as I'm willing to go with our secondary. I feel as though that we had time on task with young guys stepping up and actually finishing strong. I was happy with Debo. I didn't give up on him. He turned out to really bring in some confidence that he's going to be able to carry into next year. The same thing with Travarius Ward. Corner is one of those positions where they don't really know what you're doing until you're going bad. Travarius came in the beginning of the year wanting to prove that he was, not only did he get his deal, but he's a number one corner and he deserves to be paid like a number one corner. He came in with a chip on his shoulder. He did good for the most part.
He was really good in the NFC Championship game too. He did a really good job against AJ Brown.
Championship game. Yes,
he was.
But we saw some things that leaked through in the Seattle game. Yep. We saw him struggle in the Las Vegas game.
Yep.
And if I had to impart anything on Travarius Ward moving forward, is to just really focus on your keys. Don't get bored out there just because you're supposed to be the guy. So safety wise, I would have to really commend, first of all, and I said safety, but I'm going to dip out Jimmy Ward because he wants to be called a safety, but he's really our nickel. Jimmy
had a really good year playing nickel.
He had a phenomenal year. I think that, and not just a phenomenal year for a safety playing nickel, a phenomenal year for a nickel. I think Jimmy is going to get paid. I do believe that this is his swan song with us.
Which is too bad because I feel like what he's going to get paid is worth it for what he brings, and it doesn't break the bank. It doesn't tip the scales of your salary cap structure. But I don't know if the Niners can afford him because they're spending a lot of money on some other players.
Right, and on top of it is that Jimmy had to get warmed up into the season. He was hurt before. I believe Jimmy's 30 plus, and he's going to be looking for a golden parachute deal. He's going to be looking for something that he's going to really want his chunk of the apple, and I don't blame him.
Get it. What I want to say real quick before we move on from Jimmy is longest tenured 49er. If this is the end for him, he goes down as one of the more underrated DBs since I've been covering the team. I mean, played all the positions in the defensive backfield, played two of them at a very high level, never really got the recognition he deserved, wasn't a self-promoter, wasn't
played out of position.
Yeah, it wasn't like some players on the team that are always, in the video, dancing all up in the camera. Wasn't that kind of guy. Wasn't that kind of guy. So salute Jimmy, not just because he gave me the shout out, but he deserves one. No one ever freaking acknowledged him locally in the media. It's like he never was here. He just played his position.
One of the things is that I'll notice about Jimmy is that Jimmy is kind of like he marches to the beat of his own drum.
I love that about him. So do I.
Yeah. And he's a part of the team, but he's going to show who he is as a person first before you'll see the logo. There's some guys where you see the man before the logo. And
Maybe you're not supposed to
he's
do
one
that
of
in
those
football,
guys.
but I wasn't a football player. I like being an individualist like that. So salute Jimmy.
Well, that's why I'm not in football anymore, because you gotta have you. There's an individuality that you have to give up to be.
You have to sacrifice it. It's all part of the sacrifice. I get it.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Diamador Lenoir. Man,
Right.
he improved as the season went on. I know you mentioned it already, but I was so hard on Diamador Lenoir because it's like, man, this is a championship team and you might be the reason they don't. He was not the reason. In fact, in the playoffs, he made two of the biggest plays on the defense. So I don't know if he's going to be a starting corner next year, but if he's the nickel, he's a good player. He's a good player.
Well, he deserves to be on the field. I don't think that there's a point in time anywhere in training camp where Diamador Lenoir needs to figure out if he needs to fight for reps. I feel like for the position that he was thrusted in, I mean, he wasn't out there for free. He's getting paid, but for the position that he was put in and how he performed on the stage in which he performed, I mean, he's in the driver's seat. The ball is in his court. The only thing, if Diamador Lenoir is fighting for reps when camp comes in, there's only two reasons why I believe that happens. That's if we went and got a guy, we went and got a free agent, or he regressed and didn't get better over the offseason.
Yeah. Let's go to the safeties real quick. Talanoa, all-pro season. First year as a starter. Did a lot of good things.
Right.
Let's start with the positive. I mean, he's a playmaker. He can blitz. He intercepts passes. He forces fumbles. He recovers fumbles. Like, he is a bit of an X factor. And it's like, he's very young. He could get even better.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think about Talanoa, I think about appreciation over possession. When you get a kid that good, that instinctual, you almost want to get in his way and coach him up. You want to really get in his way, but you don't possess a player like him. You appreciate a player like Talanoa. I think that he has instinct that there's no ceiling to his instinct. I think that he's going to get a lot better. I think that getting burned on the stages that he got burned at was good for him. And one of the things that I like about a player like Talanoa is that with Huff, there's a difference between instincts and just a first step. You know, when you have instincts, you can't really make adjustments the way he was making after those bad games where he was getting hurt with his lazy eyes and messing up technique. So for me, the fact that he was able to rectify that in real time, you know, it's one thing to see a mistake and have a whole week to mull over it and then only get one shot to prove yourself again. And for him to actually make those adjustments week to week shows the type of pro that he's going to be.
Yeah, because we were all worried about him, like, whoa. Is this guy a liability out there? Our team's starting to figure him out. And then he made the adjustment, and he wasn't.
Right.
So I feel like, again, there's a difference between being instinctual and doing way too much. And I feel like for a month or so, D'Amico called it hero ball. You don't need to do that. You can play your position and, you know, take your shots when you have the instinct, but you don't have to be doing that every single play. So I think he found the balance as the season went on. And the last person I want to talk about, who really was the most under-discussed player on the team this year, Tashaun Gipson.
Yeah.
Tashaun Gipson got no accolades, zero. Yeah. And I just want to point out what his numbers were this year, all right? He was targeted in 17 games. He picked off 5 passes. He was targeted 35 times. He gave up a quarterback rating of 63, and no one noticed. This dude is 32 years old.
He had the career of his year. He had the career of his life.
He did. And you know what? He's actually had a hell of a career. He's bounced around the league, but every single team he goes to, he starts and plays well. So salute to Sean, dude. Great season. Good guy.
I mean, this is the time. This is around the season. I know from a fan perspective, we didn't get what we wanted. But this is around the time when you finish a season like that, as an individual player, you can't help but look back on what you've done. You know, he had the season of his career.
He should be so proud of himself.
He should be thrilled.
Yeah.
Not only was he a linchpin in doing it, you know what? He could have had this year on some slack-ass squad, and nobody would have cared. Right? The fact that he had this type of season on this defense, on this stage, bodes well for him getting another deal. I'm happy for him.
Can I tell you something real quick? A little fun fact about Tashaun Gipson. Can you guess how many interceptions he has in his career? He's played for 11 seasons. Guess.
5.
interceptions for his career. Career
Five.
interceptions.
5.
32, man. This dude's a good freaking player. This dude's really good. So,
Hey,
I don't know.
Gip, if
He
you
was on a
watching
practice
this-
squad?
Hold on. Hey, Gip, if you watching this, my bad, bro. That's
Like,
crazy.
who the hell are you, Tashaun? Where did you
That's
come
crazy.
from? Whoa. Yeah, man, 32.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, but there, you know what? What's awesome about football is that there's guys like that all over the league, man.
Yeah.
All over the league.
Yeah. So salute this. Hey, let's do it like this. Let's give a little grade at the end of each section for what
Let's
would
go.
you give this position for their season, their performance this season?
Corners and safeties or everybody together?
Corners and safeties. Yeah, I mean
Corners-
like the whole defensive backfield.
Defensive backfield, I give a B plus.
I was gonna say B plus too. I think that's fair. B
I
plus.
give a B plus.